And so I mentioned the commission word, and you very correctly pulled me up right away and explained what your father thought of that word.
Well, I hope I didn't sound so condemning.
It was very kind. It was very kind, but I got the message.
It was only that when I heard anyone say that about commissioning, he would always say, I never take commissions, I don't do that. And I think, I mean, I'm sort of interpreting this, but he didn't want to be at the behest of somebody. And he wanted to be the one who was in control. And I think, that even with the Devonshires, that he wanted to be doing his best work for them. He really liked them. So I would hear about this family, and it would be incredibly interesting and exciting. And then I felt terribly touched to find that me as a baby is part of their collection. I suppose now, being, seeing paintings wherever they are of me, and I sat, there's about 10 paintings, or possibly 11, including, one from a photograph of me and him. That feels very like a bond, and kind of like a nice feeling that I imagine people who have nice big families have. Yeah. Maybe, that's my fantasy anyway.
Family portraits.
Yeah.
I think what's extraordinary about the work is that he treats everyone the same. In a portrait, you can barely distinguish someone's social status or background or context, whether it's the Queen, and of course that was always, apart from the crown. But, you would actually, and even in these portraits, if you think about it, you would struggle to assign, if you didn't know the sitter, you would struggle to assign a particular social class or background to them. He seems just very interested in the face, the physiognomy, the character, not someone's social position. That seems irrelevant.
I think he liked the person, and then everything about them was of interest. Their social position, how they lived their life. He wasn't snobbish in that way. He was very discriminating in the best sense. I learnt that word from him to mean a good thing, not a bad thing.
Obviously, as the sitter, but thinking about the artist's perspective, it seems to me, looking from without, that family was clearly of interest to your father, both in terms of the relationship with the Cavendish family, which we'll talk more about tonight, but with his own expanded family. And I suppose what I wanted to ask you is, do you think, his relationship with sitters was often very long-standing and very profound? And was that a practical consideration because his process took a great deal of time, so you just had to have someone that would commit and you would be able to spend time with? Or did he need that sense of intimacy and trust to be able to paint someone?
Well, I remember him saying, I want someone who has a hole in their life, so that they could be available all the time.
How did you feel about that?
Well, I didn't count myself as one of those people, but I felt more like he was a magnet in my life, and I was very much wanting to be drawn towards him so that I could get some of that power and some of that family connection. Yeah. And he also he certainly wasn't one of those people that talked in kind of sentimental way about family. And if anything, he eschewed it really, because he started off, married and then didn't really bother. So, but there was a real sense of like a sort of strange tribe, that we were kind of, like people in the woods, and we had some sort of weird connection. I mean, it sounds rather abstract, but it was in a way, because it was about choice. Everything was about choice. And so he, wanting to paint me or if he asked you to sit for him, wanted to paint you, it was like this kind of exciting, joining a political party or something. I mean, your whole allegiance was just, it was like a visceral thing as well. So it was very exciting. And even though it was, took a long time, but those things didn't really seem to matter. When he was quite old and I knew he was going to die, I thought, I wonder if when he dies, I'll be freer to be myself. And it was exactly what happened. And it was as though he gave me a parting gift of not passing, because he had such strong opinions and they were so brilliant, his opinions, that it was very difficult not to want to have his opinion on anything, even though I knew it should have been my opinion, you know, whatever it was I was doing. But it made maybe me defer to my own self-belief. So I never hated him. I loved him sort of in a crazy way, but it was liberating when he died, and it was a sort of loving liberation.